What really happened on that fateful morning of December 7, 1941, when the Empire of Japan launched a surprise military strike on the United States Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor? The U.S. was a neutral country in World War II at the time of the attack, but this event would change the course of history. The attack on Pearl Harbor was launched from aircraft carriers, a move that would prove to be a pivotal moment in the war. As we delve into the details, one question remains: how did this attack come to be? The Japanese military leadership referred to the attack as the Hawaii Operation and Operation AI, and as Operation Z during its planning. The planning for the attack began early in 1941 under the auspices of Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, with full-scale planning underway by early spring 1941. But what sparked this plan? Japan had been wary of American territorial and military expansion in the Pacific and Asia since the late 1890s, and had invaded Manchuria in 1931. The Second Sino-Japanese War began in 1937, setting the stage for further conflict. As tensions rose, the U.S. halted shipments of airplanes, parts, machine tools, and aviation gasoline to Japan in 1940, but did not stop oil exports. This move would prove to be a crucial factor in Japan's decision to proceed with the attack. But for now, the question remains: how did Japan's military leaders convince themselves that an attack on Pearl Harbor was necessary? As the Japanese military leadership finalized their plans, Emperor Hirohito did not approve the attack plan until November 5, 1941, and final authorization for the attack was not given by the emperor until December 1, 1941. Meanwhile, the U.S. was making its own moves, with President Franklin D. Roosevelt moving the Pacific Fleet from San Diego to Hawaii in 1940. The Japanese task force left port for Pearl Harbor on November 26, 1941, the same day the Hull Note was delivered. But what did the Japanese hope to achieve with this attack? The answer lies in the events that unfolded on that fateful day. The attack began at 7:48 a.m. Hawaiian time on December 7, 1941, and the base was struck by 353 fighters, level and dive bombers, and torpedo bombers in two waves launched from 6 aircraft carriers. The attack on Pearl Harbor was a devastating blow to the U.S. Pacific Fleet, with 8 U.S. battleships present at the base, all of which were damaged, and 4 were sunk. The Japanese also sank or damaged 3 cruisers, 3 destroyers, an anti-aircraft training ship, and a mine layer. More than 180 U.S. aircraft were destroyed, and a total of 2,403 Americans were killed and 1,178 others were wounded. But the Japanese also suffered losses, with 29 aircraft, 5 midget submarines, and 130 personnel lost. As the dust settles, one question remains: what were the consequences of this attack? The U.S. declared war on Japan on December 8, 1941, and Japan declared war on the U.S. and the British Empire on the same day. The attack on Pearl Harbor marked a turning point in World War II, drawing the U.S. into the conflict. But what about the other major powers involved? Germany and Italy declared war on the U.S. on December 11, 1941, and the U.S. declared war on Germany and Italy on the same day. As the war expanded, the U.S. would play a crucial role in the Allied victory. But for now, the focus remains on the events of December 7, 1941, and the aftermath of the attack. The question remains: how did the world change in the days and weeks following the attack on Pearl Harbor? In the years leading up to the attack, Japan had been expanding its military presence in Asia, and the U.S. had been imposing economic sanctions. The U.S. ceased oil exports to Japan in July 1941, which led Japan to proceed with plans to take the oil-rich Dutch East Indies. But what about the diplomatic efforts to prevent the war? Japan offered to withdraw from most of China and Indochina after making peace with the nationalist government in 1941, but the U.S. was not convinced. The American counterproposal, the Hull Note, was delivered on November 26, 1941, but it was too little, too late. The Japanese had already set their sights on Pearl Harbor. The attack on Pearl Harbor was a surprise military strike, but it was not entirely unexpected. War between the Empire of Japan and the United States was seen as a possibility since the 1920s, and tensions had been rising for years. Japan had been wary of American territorial and military expansion in the Pacific and Asia, and the U.S. had been imposing economic sanctions. But what about the role of key individuals in the events leading up to the attack? Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto played a crucial role in planning the attack, and Emperor Hirohito ultimately gave his approval. But what about the U.S. leaders, such as President Franklin D. Roosevelt? How did they respond to the growing threat from Japan? The attack on Pearl Harbor was a pivotal moment in World War II, but it was not the only significant event in the war. The U.S. would go on to play a major role in the Allied victory, and the war would have a profound impact on the world. But for now, the focus remains on the events of December 7, 1941, and the aftermath of the attack. The question remains, what did the world learn from the attack on Pearl Harbor, and how did it change the course of history? As we reflect on the events of that day, one thing is clear: the attack on Pearl Harbor was a turning point in the war, and its impact would be felt for generations to come.